She killed herself and 7 other people when she drove the wrong way down the Taconic Parkway here in New York. This is the aftermath of this horrible crash. But as the victims' families mourn, many people are still looking for answers. This is a real mystery. Did this driver, Diane Schuler, have a history of alcoholism or heavy drinking? Well, her husband says no.
Did you know her to go to bars?
Absolutely not.
Did you know her to get drunk and act in...
I never saw her drunk since the day I met her. She was a perfect wife, an outstanding mother.
So could she have hid a drinking problem from her husband? Addiction expert Nancy Szakacsy joins us live from LA this morning. Good morning to you. This is hard for folks to believe because she blew, or not blew, but there was a 0.19 blood alcohol level. So people are having a hard time that she drank 10 ounces of liquor in what looks like a 3-hour span. Could she have hid her drinking problem from her husband?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the most difficult things to understand for folks who aren't associated or don't know someone who struggles in addiction. But secrecy and addiction go together, and so it's very common that somebody can be a functional alcoholic and hide their problem.
But how is this possible if he says, as he claims, that at parties and so forth they, would have pina coladas rarely, and they would go back and forth once in a while. They'd bring a bottle of vodka with them, and they would take it back and forth from time to time because they never even drank it a lot. So it was something they were transporting with them all the time, that she never drank. If it's so probable that a woman can hide her drinking problem, I mean, was he simply just not looking at all?
Well, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. I mean, apparently this fellow worked at night, so it's very possible, and I've had clients who when their husband's away, they're drinking at night. They drink after hours when the kids are asleep and they finish their daily chores. They drink during the day. And depending on the type of substance a person ingests, they can even work with the smell, and vodka tends to be an alcoholic beverage that doesn't have a smell.
But see, Nancy,
so
here's what's so
ways to get around it.
Yes, I hear what you're saying, but this one is so unbelievable because she basically had to have had the equivalent of 10 shots of vodka while she had her own 2 young children in the car, plus her 3 nieces. Is there a difference between someone who is a binge drinker and someone who is an alcoholic?
Well, when you're an alcoholic, you're generally drinking regularly. There's no interim. What I'm wondering is, did she have a period of time where she couldn't drink as heavily as she was used to, and then in a moment of free time, she just let it go? So I think there's a lot for the investigators to figure out. But someone who ingests that amount of alcohol is generally someone who either got triggered in some kind of enormous situational trigger that just transpired, or that is used to drinking and maybe their tolerance dropped for a small amount of time, and when they ingested it, it hit them harder, or they're a severe alcoholic that generally can function but overdid at this particular time. I mean, this is a tragic event, so whatever the husband's responses are in the moment, who knows whether they're altered by just the numbness around such a devastating tragedy, or an attorney's
Sure, but I mean, but I just want to challenge you on one last thing, because even when somebody is an alcoholic and has hidden it, they still have a hangover the next day. I mean, there still has to be some evidence if somebody is a heavy drinker.
Alcoholics
to this point
don't normally have that hangover the next day.
Some do, am I right, Nancy?
Well, it's just absolutely hard to believe that you wouldn't see the effects of someone who's a heavy drinker, but it can be masked in a lot of intelligent ways.
Right.
For example, you have little children, you say, oh, I'm just pooped out of my mind, or I didn't get enough sleep last night, I was up with the little one. There are ways to get around it and make excuses for it, and so it's not even, with the female population, it's not that uncommon to hide it behind something, or have it even hidden in the car so you have easy access. So
and vodka
it's
is
hard
often
to say in this case.
Right, vodka is often that drink because it's odorless as well. That's often the one we find out about. Nancy Szakacsy live in Los Angeles this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy.